I'm often told that a lot of the more obscure racing games I cover on my channel sound like they're made up, or that I made them up on the spot. I can't blame anyone for making these jokes. Racing games are some of the easiest shovelware slop to create. Slap a couple of characters in a cart, take some inspiration from other games in the genre, or none at all, and boom, you've got a game ready to hit store shelves that someone out there will buy. This could be said for a lot of titles, and Rascal Racers here is one of them. The team behind this looked like they stuck to the bare minimums and left it at that. I mean, just check out this front cover. I can't believe it's real. Rascal Racers didn't catch much attention at the time of its release, given that it came out in 2004 in North America, nearly 4 years after the PlayStation 2 launched. Even though it's fairly obscure, you may have heard of Rascal Racers before. Popular YouTuber Cat Icarus covered this game back when he first started releasing content, and it gained a lot of views. But Rascal Racers is just another drop in the shovelware racing game bucket. There's 8 characters you can choose from, with 2 unlockables that you get as you finish cups in the tournament mode. While there isn't anything in-game that tells you if these characters perform differently than one another, the enclosed instruction book gives you a brief description of their stats. I didn't find this information out until a little later, and chose to play as Rocco the raccoon on hard mode, because of how grotesque he looks on the front cover. And when I went to change the difficulty, I made an odd discovery. We'll keep the... Oh my god! You can have 50 laps?
Why would you want that?
You saw that right. The races can go from 3, 5 to 9 laps, or 50. That's a huge jump with nothing else in between. Strange choice, but I ignored that and stuck with the standard 5 laps. As the first race in the Crystal Cup loaded, I found myself ill-prepared for the hell that Rascal Racers wrought. I can't turn. Why? This feels like a toddler trying to steer a full-size pirate ship. It gets a little easier when you pick up some speed, though it's still very slow to move around. Despite the bad controls, this was one of the easiest games I've ever played. Granted, I had to play through medium before I could unlock hard mode, but the whole game only took me about a half hour to beat. Throughout that time, I found myself baffled by how terrible Rocco's handling was, and I had to know if it was the same for everyone else. This is where I looked up the game's manual and found that Rocco was described as having low speed and top-notch handling abilities. Are we talking about the same Rocco here? This Rocco? I figured the descriptions were a load of baloney and decided to test every character in a time trial instead. Time-wise, they all performed roughly the same, with about a second or two of difference. Argyle, who's described as having quite poor handling, turned much better than Rocco and actually had one of the best times out of everyone, getting a 32-second lap while most others had 33 or 34. Rocco got a 33, but in my opinion, he was one of the worst to handle out of everyone I played. But given how easy and short this game was on medium, I was sure that even Rocco would mow through hard mode in no time, and that'd be pretty uninteresting. So I got to thinking, is there anything I could do to make this game work for a challenge? Well, there is one thing. What if I try to complete this game as Rocco on hard mode with 50 laps for each race? As far as I've seen, not a single soul out there has had the courage or stupidity to take this piece of garbage game to its absolute limit until today. So let's see if you can beat Rascal Racers only using Rocco with 50 laps enabled. For this challenge, I'm gonna try and beat every cup in the tournament mode. Thankfully, there's only 3 races per cup and 3 cups in total. Buckle up and hold on to your hats, everyone. This is gonna be a wild ride. Well, this is kinda it. A whole lot of racing and nothing else. After about the first few laps, I kinda lost track of everyone, and was stuck racing by my lonesome for a while. To break up the monotony, you can sometimes get items to throw around, like rockets, homing missiles, grenades, and the occasional boost. The boost is what you want to get as often as possible to help you through this slog of a challenge. They're best saved for straightaways though. When you activate a boost, you're kinda stuck for a moment. For the first 12 laps, I didn't see another racer anywhere, but towards the end of lap 13, I spotted 2 others ahead of me. Finally, some action. If only it wasn't so short-lived. By lap 18, I was starting to run on autopilot and began to lose it a little bit.
Merge, I don't want to go 50 laps.
You need to make the same joke in 2 videos, homie.
Oh, I should mention that this music is on like a 45-second loop, so that was slowly frying my brain.
Beep, beep, burp, beep, beep, burp, beep, 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 burp, beep, beep, burp, beep, 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 burp.
I like to eat lots of cake, and I like to eat lots of cake. Oh, what's that? Looks like a cake. I am going to eat that cake. Delicious cake. I am going to have that cake. I want to eat your cake.
and I'm gonna take a nap in your bed.
At 21 minutes, I hit lap 39 and everything seemed to be running smooth. Until it didn't.
We're gonna be YouTube mega partners, and then we're also gonna be... No. No! No!
I feel like anyone could have saw this coming at least once from the moment I decided to do 50 laps of this nonsense. And to add insult to injury, my game didn't save either. Not that it matters, but all my trophies and new characters were gone. So fast forward 20 minutes, I got back to lap 39, and along the way, I made save states for every 15 or so laps, just in case the 50 laps was too much for this game to handle. Thankfully, there were no more crashes in this race, and I completed it in a little over 27 minutes. I only ended up beating second place by about 15 seconds. Not as large of a lead as I assumed I would have had. The second race is in a city, and I just realized that none of these tracks have names. Well, they actually do, but they're called things like Snow 1 and City 1, cause naming the city Rascal Town Raceway or something like that was too much work. The city is merely a couple of turns, but you get to see advertisements like carts, gums, turbo fuel, and number. I fully expected this to be another blowout, except I had some issues early on that forced me to be on my toes. It started with this turtle Picasso damage boosting in front of me.
Excuse you!
And then he got me a second time with his barrier. That was followed up by a chain of homing missiles.
Dude, alright, I got hit. Stop hitting.
The homing missiles are so annoying in this game because they'll hit whomever is directly ahead of you. And if you get hit, you lose the item you're holding.
Oh, I lost that item. You
I had one more slip up in lap 41 where I ran into a wall and Paulie overtook my lead. Even though I'd gain my spot back and win the race, it wasn't without constant annoyance from items throughout the remainder of it.
Oh my god. Oh my god!
The final race is in Forest 1, and I was really starting to lose my marbles after nearly an hour of doing this dumb challenge.
Cruising on down Main Street, 47 laps to go. Next thing that you know, subscriber count getting low. 50 lap racing game school bus.
The only bit of conflict I saw here was with Chaz in the 6th lap. He passed me after I ran into a mine and got further ahead after a homing missile hit me. I caught up with Chaz in the 9th lap and conveniently got a homing missile myself, which I strategically used against him.
Right kid in front of me. Go on. Actually, no, I'll let you. Boom. Bye.
Pretty much nothing happened for the rest of this race, and I'd end up winning after 25 minutes, making this the longest race so far. Just 6 more left to go. The Magic Cup starts us back where we left the last cup off at in Forest 2. I'm pretty sure this is almost the same exact track, except there's a stone bridge here. Since I continued this run a day after I finished the first cup, it took me a second to get readjusted to these terrible controls. I got my groove back after a few minutes, and gave the others a few licks along the way.
Die. Ooh. Chloe, your goose is... Never mind.
Chloe and I had a small rivalry early on, but she fell behind and was never to be seen for the rest of the almost 30 minutes this track took to beat. In Snow 2, Ahab took the place as my new rival, but he wasn't prepared for my cunning and quick wit.
All right, I need a weapon to take this guy down. There we go. Yep, see? Like that? Don't tailgate.
Actually, sometimes he was just faster than me, but not too fast. Almost like the game wanted to give you a challenge, but cut the act last minute to make you feel like you won. In all seriousness, he actually stuck by me throughout most of the race, but never really posed too much of a threat. There was one situation in the 49th lap where he got ahead of me, but after I hit him with the homing missile, he was finished. The last race is in City 2, switching up the first city by making it nighttime and adding a tunnel, which honestly, I love going through those, especially on a road trip. This race didn't go as well as I had planned. Chloe got ahead after shocking me with her barrier, and I tried to do a cool trick shot to get her back and show off, which failed spectacularly more than once.
I'm locking on to his Dorito-looking ass head, and boom! Oh, f*** off! Oh, wait, I didn't lose my item? That's weird. Oh!
I'd actually be brought all the way down to 3rd thanks to the never-ending homing missile attacks.
Why?
But while I'd get back up to 1st and stay there for a bit, the missile attacks just kept coming. They were never this bad in any other race. When I made my save in the 26th lap, Picasso hit me with his barrier and ran for the hills. I had one opportunity to strike him back, but lost my chance and my item.
Blessed. Oh, a good time. Damn it!
Never would have thought I'd place in 2nd in one of these. Good thing I racked up a bunch of points because my finishing spot didn't matter all too much. The final cup is amusingly named Miracle Cup, because it's a miracle that I made it this far and still want to continue. The first of the last races is at the city. again, but it's during a sunrise or sunset, so it's different. This race was completely opposite to City 2. Literally almost nothing happened here. No endless missile attacks, CPUs taking over my position, nothing. Just 28 minutes of cruising through the city. Snow 3 would bring back my conflict with Picasso. He got ahead of me in the second lap, then took a hit from my homing missile and fell back. I thought that would have been that, but around 4 minutes later in the 11th lap, he reared his ugly head again after I ran into a mine.
That guy's still right behind. Why? What the hell?
I don't even think this game has any rubber banding in it, so maybe he had a bunch of boosts or something to catch up with me. Picasso and I would trade first place back and forth for most of the race, but I'd lose him again in the 31st lap. To no surprise, after a few more laps, there he was again. This stayed consistent all the way to the end of the race, where he was still directly behind me after I won. This was the closest race I had in this challenge. Forest 3 started off a little rocky. I got stuck on one of the turns in the 13th lap, which dropped me down a few places, but I got back to first in the 17th lap and stayed there all the way till I hit lap 48. Cadmus, like Picasso in the last race, came out of nowhere and challenged me for first. I would have liked to say that I fought the good fight, but the items were stacked heavily in Cadmus's favor.
Come on! Oh my god, I'm gonna lose to that.
I'd finished the race in second, won in first overall, and proved that you can beat Rascal racers only using Rocco with 50 laps enabled. As you might expect, there were no credits after this win. It's just back to the title screen. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm sure a question a lot of you may have had at any point watching this video is, why? Why subject yourself to playing hours of one of the most boring games ever created for the PlayStation? And my answer to that is, well, I don't really have any idea. The thought of doing 50 laps in this game was funny at first, and it still kinda is. But yeah, I didn't really have to do this at all. Although, to potentially be the first one to beat all cups with 50 laps is kinda cool, and maybe a little sad at the same time. Rascal Racers is a complete nothing game. The controls suck, there's no voice lines or anything for the characters, the tracks are pretty much all the same with a few changes, and the music loops after a short amount of time. If I didn't shut the music off earlier in the run, I probably would have gone crazy. If I have anything nice to say, the in-game character models do look okay, especially when compared to the front cover. Now this may surprise you, but this isn't the only Rascal Racers game in existence. There are 3 others: Miracle Space Race, XS Airboat Racing, and ATV Racers. All of these are basically the same game with environment, vehicle, and music changes. It's almost as if they had a whole game put together, but decided to split it into 4 parts. Who knows, it might have actually been somewhat passable if all this content was on one disc with a story mode or something. And no, I have no plans to do this run on any of these other games. This will likely be my first and last visit in the Rascal Racers universe. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Also, I stream all of my challenge runs live on my Twitch channel and here on YouTube. If you'd like to check that out, be sure to subscribe or follow me on Twitch. The link to my Twitch channel, along with links to my other social media accounts, can be found in the description. If there's a challenge run you'd like to see, you can also check out the description for a direct link where you can submit your ideas. Thanks again for watching, everyone. See you in the next video.
This baseline kind of reminds me of that Adrian Brody meme. Adrian Brody, Adrian Brody, Adrian Brody, Adrian Brody.